So for the record, these are called Joy-Con, not Joy-Cons. A lot of people say Joy-Cons, but there's no S, even when plural. The GameCube controller holds a special place in a lot of people's hearts. And you know what? It's understandable. It's a really good controller. There have now been a few companies who have made their own iteration of a GameCube-style controller for the Nintendo Switch, and they all have their own merits, but you know what? I think I may have found my favorite. This is the GameCube-style Joy-Con from Doyoky. Inside the box, you get some documentation. Of course, you get the controllers, along with a controller bridge piece that doubles as a charger for both of the Joy-Con. You get a USB cable, and you even get these swappable thumbsticks. And yeah, let's go ahead and talk about that. With these controllers, you basically get the option to swap these thumbsticks of either side with one of 3 different options. With both color schemes, you have the sort of ringed version of the thumbstick, you have a traditional sort of smooth center thumbstick, and then you get the classic nub. Now, I'm not sure why you would ever want to use the nub for both the left thumbstick and the right, but I guess if you're a heathen, the option is there.
You're an irredeemable monster!
As far as how the thumbsticks feel, yeah, it's pretty nice. They aren't quite as, I don't know, springy, I guess, compared to the original controller, but I really don't think it's that noticeable of a difference, and really isn't going to be a deal breaker for most people. As far as I can tell with the thumbsticks, the difference is pretty minimal. Looking at the rest of the controller, you have an enlarged D-pad, which is always a nice improvement over the original GameCube controller. And the face buttons, while not exactly one-to-one with the original controller in terms of, I guess, overall feel, they're good. They're solid. I don't really have any complaints over them. The original controller is more, I guess, spongy or soft, however you want to put it, but this controller does a really solid job with the buttons, and it feels great. It's close enough to where I don't really notice any differences in gameplay when I use these. Now, as these are technically Joy-Con for the Nintendo Switch, you do have your more traditional Joy-Con features. You have the typical plus, minus, screenshot, and home buttons, as well as shoulder buttons that are similar to what you'd get on the original Joy-Con. And as a bonus, you also get a turbo button, as well as a mapping button for each Joy-Con to assign buttons to the macros on the back of the controller. Now, I know a lot of people love the GameCube controller, but admittedly, with the Switch, not exactly a lot of games are really optimized for the controller's layout, but I can't deny how good this thing feels in the hand compared to traditional Joy-Con. And honestly, after a little while, I became used to the button layout, and I was even able to finish the campaign of Tears of the Kingdom using these controllers. So yeah, going forward, I honestly think these are going to be sort of my daily drivers for my Switch right now. My only real disappointment, silly as it may be, I guess, is regarding the shoulder buttons. Don't get me wrong, they're not bad. In fact, they feel good when using it with the Switch. It's just that I love the original clicky shoulder buttons on the original GameCube controller. Nice. I know the Switch takes digital input, so they don't really have any benefit with analog, but I don't know, I feel like we could have met in the middle somewhere, couldn't we? I mean, really, it's just because I don't just use these for the Nintendo Switch. I also use them for the Steam Deck, which is how I primarily play my emulated GameCube games. Thanks to EmuDeck, I've been slowly building up a little collection of GameCube games that I can emulate and just take with me anywhere. And because the Steam Deck recognizes Joy-Con controllers, I can just pair them with the Steam Deck and play these docked on the TV. It's awesome. The only real downside with this use case is that every time I want to play on the Steam Deck with the GameCube controller, I have to pair it with the Steam Deck and hit that tiny little button every single time I want to have a session with these controllers. Also, the pairing is via Bluetooth, so if you're a latency snob, you might not really like that, but personally for me, it's about as good as any standard Bluetooth controller, and I don't really notice enough of a difference to, make it a negative experience. Playing games like Wind Waker and Mario Kart Double Dash have been an absolute blast, especially now that I get to enjoy them with the original button layout that they were designed for. You can currently find this controller on Doyoky's website for about $60-ish, I think. And yeah, it's, not cheap, but it's pretty fairly priced compared to the alternatives that are out there. But yeah, while this is meant for the Nintendo Switch, using it for either the Switch or the Steam Deck have both been really positive experiences. A couple things I forgot to mention, it does have 6-axis motion control support, so you can use this with games like Splatoon or Tears of the Kingdom when you're aiming the bow and such. The vibration, it does support vibration, although it's not the best. Corners were cut there, I believe. As far as battery life is concerned, I couldn't find an advertised battery life on on the website, but I think at the most I played like 6 to 8 hour sessions in length, and this controller had not died on me then. So I think especially if you're using this with the Nintendo Switch and just charging them on the Switch itself, this isn't going to be an issue in terms of battery life. But yeah, that about does it for this one. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on a controller like this for the Nintendo Switch. Do you think that this controller could benefit you in any other game other than Smash Bros. Ultimate? Whatever your thoughts and opinions are, I'd love to hear them in the comments down below. As always, be sure to let us know if you like this type of video or not by hitting the appropriate like or dislike button. And if you want to see a review on a GameCube controller that actually works with the original GameCube as well as the Nintendo Switch, be sure to click on one of the boxes or cards or whatever you call them somewhere on the screen here. That is the controller by Retrobit. I believe it's called the Battler GC, something like that. But yeah, that about does it for this video, everyone. Thank you, as always, for watching. My name is Blake, and for all things tech, games, to really anything nerdy in between, be sure and subscribe to Digital Cynics. Have a good one, everyone. We'll see you next time.